I guess the point was to get in the water. Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about racism and why we need to get rid of it quick. The real reason we need to eliminate racism fast is because humanity is going to Mars. If you don't follow space news, this might be surprising to you, but humanity is headed to Mars in the next 10 years. Elon Musk, SpaceX, they're on the cusp of doing it. It's mind-boggling. Google it if you don't believe me. And at first it's going to be like explorers, like Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin type. And then they'll build a base, and then if things go well, a civilization over time. Come on down here. Okay. My camera skills need some work. So, we need to get rid of racism fast. I've already did this part, I'm just gonna skip it. I wonder, when humanity goes to Mars, will racism follow us? Will there be racists on Mars? I mean, it sounds outlandish, but it's a real question. So, I think the first thing to ask is, what is racism? Racism is just this belief that one race is better or worse than another. The interesting thing about it is that the effects of racism are extremely real, but it's all founded on this completely fake idea, which is that races are real. Oh, my video keeps stopping. There are many different types of being white and black. It's not just this thing, it's this monolithic label that we like to slap on groups of people. So racism is fundamentally pretty arbitrary. Let's put this in some perspective. Let's imagine Mars. Let's imagine that two groups of people make it to Mars. One settle on crater A and the other settle on crater B. Now from Earth, we're all watching, like, wow, we hope they work together. They're the only humans on planet, and they hopefully they make something beautiful for future generations to come out and live on Mars with them. Meanwhile, on Mars, these people are like, no, screw each other. Crater A says crater B people are dumb. They landed on crater B. They smell. They're idiots. Whatever. Meanwhile, crater B people say the same thing about crater A people. I think on Earth we'd be confused. We'd be just disappointed. We'd be like, why are you wasting this incredible opportunity to make something amazing happen on Mars? You're literally the only people out there. Like, please do something. Instead, you're choosing these arbitrary things to mark your identity and start this tribal type of warfare. Flip it. Now we're on Mars looking at Earth. Yeah, there's 7 or 8 billion people, but we're the only people on Earth. And we have this chance to make something really beautiful with it for future generations and for ourselves. And instead, we choose to draw lines around these arbitrary identities. The tribe of my ancestors comes from this land or this continent, and the tribe of yours comes from this one, and fight over it. It seems wasteful, if not outright stupid. I like to think of racism as a virus of sorts. Just like a virus, it needs a host. So there's no racism on Mars because there are no racists on Mars. There's no people to infect on Mars. And just like a virus, we spread it from person to person, oftentimes, usually unwittingly. And as it spreads, it mutates. So I might have a racist view about X group of people and share that with you. You get infected by it, but your perspective on it mutates, and you no longer see it quite the same way. And just like a virus, I think we can inoculate ourselves from racism. It's something that we can vaccinate, quote unquote, ourselves from. And I think the key to that is by understanding how arbitrary it is, like how senseless it is at the root. Excuse me. Why are we sending people to Mars? Let's talk about that for a second. Fundamentally, we want to send people to Mars so to double the odds that human life, and just life in general, can continue to flourish in the universe. Just imagine there's a life extinguishing event on Earth. World War III, a worst pandemic, an asteroid, something like this, and all life on Earth ceases to exist. If that is the case, oh nice. If that's the case, then boom, goodbye humanity, goodbye life. This beautiful thing called consciousness extinguishes from the universe forever. That's so sad. If there is a copy of humanity on Mars, then hey, we can continue on and continue on existing. Now imagine you have something really important on your computer, something very valuable to you, an album you made, your PhD essay, thesis, or your grandson's graduation, high school graduation video, whatever it is on your computer. If it was just on that computer, you'd say, well, this is not the smartest thing. You know, you spill some water on it, someone steals it, your house burns down, it's gone. So you say, let me make a copy of it. Now, let's say you find out you got a virus on this file. Or, you know, and you say like, well, this virus may not affect the file. I might still be able to open it later, but it also might. It might corrupt the file, it might destroy it, it might prevent it from being able to function in the future. I think the proper thing to do would be to say, well, let's get rid of all these viruses as much as we can before we make a copy of it. And just as we are sending humans to Mars to copy consciousness and life and humanity, and just as racism is a virus, we need to work very hard together to eliminate racism now before we fully make a copy of humanity. And you say, well, why not get rid of racism for the people who are here because of, you know, it sucks for a lot of people individually. Totally true, but the sad reality is that all humanity, the entirety of humanity has existed with racism, and as a collective whole, we have more or less thrived. And I mean that in the sense that we exist today, like humanity hasn't been extinguished yet. So I don't think it's like necessarily something that is going to kill us right away. It could lead to something cataclysmic in the future, but I don't think that sense of urgency is because human existence immediately is at stake. But as far as saying like, hey, we're about to make a copy, yeah, let's debug. I'm Rocket, and these are my reflections. I'm not always right, but I'm just trying to provide an unfiltered perspective on things. If you enjoy this, please follow along, share it with friends, comment your thoughts. I'd love to read them and see what you're thinking. There'll be links in the description to maybe other videos, maybe ways to support me on this channel if you're interested. No pressure, of course. As always, I ask you to love hard and live well.